Hey, welcome to the deep end. Mike Shope, Adam Krautwurst. Just gave Adam. I feel like I haven't seen Adam or talked to him in a while. But don't forget your ball tomorrow. Okay? Don't forget your ball tomorrow. I'm saying
I
it on
know.
the show so you
I
remember.
know.
Um, I just gave Adam the best in show. That scene in Best in Show, is that too old of a movie where somebody's going on a local show in Philadelphia and the morning hosts are like, energy. That's the last word they say. I gave Adam the energy. We talked some recent news. There was a ton of it. Recap Adam's weekend in Kentucky, which is actually Indiana,
Yes.
and hard questions, the tough questions about my main event draft last night, which we got to get in early because I have another one in 2 hours. Yeah, that's what this guy has dragged me into.
What a
Thanks for
life.
watching and listening. What a life. This is the deep end.
I'm so confused. He can't see. He's drowning. He's drowning in his own.
Is it this bad? Do I need a bag over my head
That's
with this
right.
draft? Is
The
it this
draft was
bad?
so bad. You need like a
Do I?
fire. Who's the owner? Who's the owner of that team? Fire Mike Shope.
Me.
That's right. Fire
It's the
Mike
only
Shope.
main event team I have without a partner, so nice job there. I can't even blame anybody. Well,
it's not that bad. What do you mean?
Okay,
Come on.
okay. That's what I mean. That is what I want to hear, but I want to think that because last night it made sense to me. There's always bad luck in drafts, but I think the best players think they can mitigate that or even negate it. That especially if you're drafting in the middle, you can sort of scoop value and bad luck does not undermine you. I drafted at 11 last night, and let's see how that went. Okay.
Yep. Pulling it.
I mean,
pulling
ask
it
me
up.
anything.
Ask me anything. So you were sending me screenshots of this as the draft was going, which was sensational. And yeah, I thought it was really amazing through 5 for sure. I mean, Brandon Cooks, is that wide receiver 28?
Team 11.
Am I not seeing things right?
No, I want to make sure everybody. I don't think we said which team it was. Team 11 started 5 receivers.
Yes, Team 11 started 5 receivers. Do you want to break it down, Mike? The picks real quick for the people who are just listening.
Sure. Diggs at 11 was a no-brainer for me. That's who I want. Lamb, I could have gotten a little bit trapped on Lamb at 2-2, but I had it in my head that was really good value. The only running back I would have wanted is Barkley. Andrews had gone, and Pitts, I thought, like, I can't do this at 2-2 and play a value game. So CD Lamb for me, I love that start. Did one with Louis G the night before. We also started Diggs Lamb. Fine. 3-10, ETN is gone. Even Chubb, Kamara at 2-1. Like, it wasn't all the running backs, Adam, but it was all the ones I liked.
Yeah. And that's a great little point that you made because you don't just take a running back just to take a running. You don't take any position just to take that position. Like, it's got to be a player that you like. And then, I mean, you can like entire tiers. Like, nobody likes, Rashad White specifically as a player, but they love that tier of or archetype of back for like a 0 RB build or something. So they like all those backs in that range. But like, yeah, if you're that early in the draft and you don't want to take a running back if it's a whoever that back was in this draft, like, if you don't want to go Tony Pollard that early, then don't take another great receiver because it's going to be more valuable to your team.
Team 11, pick 311, Mike Williams. The best running back on the board there for me is Connor. No thought to Elliott or anyone else. I mean, Dameon Pierce, I'll let you know in 2 hours where Dameon Pierce goes. I mean, maybe he goes in that range tonight, actually, but no. So Robinson and then, or rather Mike Williams and then Robinson. And I think maybe I got tripped up here, and this might be bad. You'll tell me, I think. The team behind me, the 12, started running back, tight end, quarterback. And I had an instinct to try to jam him. If I take another receiver here, then next time around I can know what he's not going to do.
Right.
And there were two players there who were completely worthy, and I passed on them for different reasons. George Kittle, I didn't want him. I'm nervous about that. And so many of these drafts, I'm getting Goddard, the guys in that Irv Smith range, Ertz. I'll be okay. So I didn't have any hesitation to skip Kittle. I know that Go Bills guys, they told me, Dom told me today, they were sort of getting on me for that, but I had no problem skipping Kittle at 4-2. Connor though, Connor was my chance there at running back to get value, and I missed it. I think I missed it.
Yeah, hindsight's always 2020. And by the way, one different pick anywhere in a draft will affect the entire rest of the draft. So it's not like you can assume, if I get this guy around 3, and then if I take him instead of Robinson, well, Cooks is going to be there. You don't know if Cooks is going to be there if you pass on Allen Robinson for James Conner. So I'm just saying, the team would probably look better and probably be better with Conner along with Cooks, Williams, Lamb, and Diggs. But you didn't know that you were going to get Cooks, and you probably wouldn't have at wide receiver 28 if you take Conner. So I'm still okay with taking Robinson there. I love Allen Robinson, but James Conner is certainly would not have been a reach there. Would have fit the build still very, very nicely. But I have no problem with you passing on Kittle. I don't have a lot of Kittle either for the reasons that we've talked about before. You got a quarterback that's young. His fantasy relevance relies on him running the ball. There's a million weapons there. The team's going to run the ball. I mean, they kept 5 running backs, for gosh sakes, today on that team. So I'm not so sure Kittle's even going to get the volume that people think he's going to get. So, but again, hindsight's 2020 because you ended up kind of getting boxed out of tight end.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's more of a problem than running back is probably. This is really, I remember this very well. So you go to the end of round 4, which if you're watching is to the left. Kittle 4-9 to our friends. Great. I mean, that's easy, I suppose. The tight ends, the teams in front of him had a tight end. So, okay. A.J. Dillon at 4-10. All right.
Dylan's flying up boards. I was in Kentucky this weekend drafting. I don't know. I have no idea. He was going really high there. And I just, I have no clue. I get the whole, we talked about the Amon-Ra, St. Brown, or the Lions guys moving up the board because they're on Hard Knocks. I have no clue why A.J. Dillon is moving up boards, and I'm not going to have any of them if that's the case. I mean, he's not even the best running back on his team. And it's not like Aaron Jones is dropping either. It's not like Jones is dropping to the end of the third. It doesn't make any sense to me. But anyways, go ahead.
So team 3, it had 3 wide receivers. What I thought that was that's somebody who had decided to build a running back block after that and didn't like Breece Hall, because Hall or even Akers, those are the guys you pick there. So he picks Dillon, and then 5-1 is Hawkinson, 5-2 is Goddard. Both are a little, if not even more than a little bit early. And I was in trouble. And then Pierce at 5-3. So now I'm in trouble. And all these receivers in round 5 are pretty close for me. It needed to be Hall for me at 5'11". He goes at 5'10". And then it's a movement, and then it's just okay, well, I'm almost 5 rounds in. I have only wide receivers. This is my thing now. I'm doing this. Yeah. And then I know, Adam, this, I have no regrets about it. I took the bag off my head. The running backs between 6 and 10 are there's a lot of it. I feel like that's really good. This draft tonight, I'm going to want to do that again. I mean, it has to be the ones you like. Stevenson goes early 7. Edmonds goes early 7. I get Dobbins at 6:02 because to me he's the chalk there. And then it's Kareem Hunt, CEH. Yeah, there's a path. Now I'm talking myself into stuff by 8-9. And tight end, I'll tell you, 7-10 is Ertz. That was my pick at 7-11 too. The team 10 got me twice. Hall and then Ertz. You talk about one pick making the difference. Yeah, I would not have been weird at tight end had I picked Zach Ertz at that point. ADP is 7-10 at Fantasy Mojo. That's the spot.
I'm looking right now. ADP for Goddard is 5-12. ADP for Hockenson is 6'1". ADP for Ertz is 7'12". So like you, in no world did you think you weren't going to get a shot at any of the three of them, where their ADPs were. I mean, Hockenson and Goddard both went around early, so that's where it ends up. You can't predict that. Hall would have been sensational for you there, but again, like I don't mind. Like Brandon Cooks could certainly have a better year. I mean, Brandon Cooks' ADP is higher than Breece Hall as it is, anyways. Forget the builds. Like Brandon Cooks' wide receiver 28 is so good. I think he's dropping a little bit because of the Nico Collins news that he's doing really well in camp, but I still think Cooks is going to be fine. And I'm glad that you didn't panic there and take Dobbins over Cooks. Like you went, okay, fine, you're going to leave me Brandon Cooks. I'm going to take him too. The thing that ends up not looking so great, and it might end up working itself out, is generally when you go 0 RB, you want to have at least an elite quarterback or an elite to tight end. You can sometimes do both, which I think you would have wanted to do with a Hockenson or a Goddard and then a QB. But here you don't really have either. So at least as of right now. But what you do have that a lot of 0 RB teams don't have is you have a significant amount of depth at running back, as far as like guys that are going to start week one. Like there aren't a ton of like. You didn't start taking running backs at, Antonio Gibson. You didn't go like Gibson, Kenny Walker, Kenneth Gainwell. Like you've got some guys that are going to play week one and have
Dobbins, Hunt, Edwards-Helaire, and Singletary are all guys who could have 10 to 20 touches in week one, but they could all have none. Like
sure,
Dobbins may miss. Hunt, he's not going to have none, but Hunt is not the starter. CEH, they did keep Ronald Jones, and then Singletary. That's the precarious nature of week one. Like you just don't know what teams are really going to do. I mean, Singletary does play on the Thursday night, so I don't have to worry about whether to start him or whatever to do there. Yeah, free look. And that's true of Robinson too.
And Diggs.
And Diggs, yeah, good point. We'll be together now for that game because you sold your tickets.
Yes, excited.
Oh, there's Coke at that party. There's some pretzels. You're going to love it.
Wait, what did you say was at the party?
Coca-Cola, pretzels. There's a bar. They do door prizes at halftime.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Are there goldfish?
Why would you rather be at the game? Why would you rather be at the game?
Why would you rather go to the game? No, they do a great job. So 4 running backs here. I mean, it didn't fall right, and I definitely could have done things differently. One point before I go forward here, and then we got to move on. Those teams at 1 and 2 who picked Hockenson and Goddard in round 5, like I have the second pick tonight with my friend Mark, and tight end is tough.
Yeah.
At the beginning, like you got to reach or you got to live with what you get. Like how would that have gone last night for those guys? Drafting at the bottom, I skipped Kittle because I feel like all these teams are wide receivers and Kittle, and I don't love them. So let's take our chances and try to win in time. Who is your tight end if you're picking in the 2? Like, who is it? If value goes the way it goes, we've talked about this on this show before. Yeah. You can pick Kelsey at 2, but you're not gonna usually.
No.
And then, so who do you get?
Yeah, for me, it's that's a great question. For me, it's generally all right. I'm going to take Evan Ingram and Tyler Higbee or Irv Smith or
right.
You know something. You
can do that. You can do
that. That's what you're doing. That's what you're thinking about doing. But we also don't know. Like I don't know who these 2 teams are that picked in the front. There's also a lot of teams that play in so many main events that they diversify. Like all right, I want a Christian McCaffrey, Dallas Goddard team. For whatever reason, like I don't have any Goddard picking at the front end because there aren't going to be a lot of teams that have Goddard with Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. Right. So I'm just using that player as an example. Like they like to mix it up to get different builds to be unique. So maybe that was the case here. Maybe these teams have no other main event teams. They're like, you know what, I need to get an elite tight end in this premium tight end format. So.
All the more reason to explain reaches and to justify them.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But that just makes it tougher for you. Well, that's not the point. The point wasn't that it was tougher for me at 11. It's like at the first 2 picks, you got to come up with something or you got to play Adam's game and just take the guys in the 15 to 20 range and just, okay, that's what I'm doing.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So first 10 rounds, Prescott in round 10, like, okay. I can explain it where I think I really, if you want to call it a mistake, I think my mistakes were after that. Because if you look at this team, you've got a tight end problem through 10 rounds or even 12. And then you still need more, I'm calling it beef at running back. You need more guys. The night before, Louis and I really nailed this. The Tyler Algiers and Joshua Kelly's, even like guys like that.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren.
Yep.
Those guys
Steelers.
sort of came to me in the second half. Last night it did not happen, and I can't do it. I can't just pick guys that I know are bad picks because of the build. And if you do that once, then the next time around the pressure's off and you don't have to. But I didn't get there. So most of my second half, Khalil Herbert at 11 or 12 rather, was my last running back, and that was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Yeah, you probably want one or two more for sure. But again, you took higher end 0 RB guys. Like you took guys, like you didn't take like guys that are super, like CEH could be great. We're assuming, a lot of people don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to have a great year, but he could be. The path is certainly there. Singletary, the path is there for double-digit touchdowns, So I think you have higher end guys. I think where you kind of got caught in the weeds there, and I saw you guys talking about today, was taking those receivers late, like taking Russell Gage. But again, value on Russell Gage, value on Jamison Williams, right?
That's like, I can't resist.
Gallup, you know what I mean?
Hamler at the end, Hamler. Why is Hamler in round 20?
No clue. No idea. So I get it. Those guys, they're probably never going to start for you, but a lot of these guys you're going to cut anyways. And you can still use the 0 RB philosophy of, hey, I got to attack waiver wire early. I got to make sure I have my great running backs, but you got to pay a little bit more attention to tight end now than you would have before, obviously. Plus that run there too. What are we? 9, 10, 11, 12. That run 12 and 13 there where like 8 of them went.
Right.
That was, 3 in a row. Well, you were the third one, but like Ingram, Fant, and then it's like, oh man, what a drop off there. But yeah, taking running backs probably would have been a little bit better of an idea, but at least you got really good value at those receiver spots.
When I lose, so anybody can lose for the same reasons, the randomness of it all. When I lose, where it's on me, is when I feel like I just have that instinct or impulse to impress, and that is a losing mindset or thought in high stakes, because who cares? Like, you're not in the room with your friends. I sort of came up in the world in fantasy, and I'm still sort of recent to me, where you want to impress, you want to make a pick where they go, ooh, you thought of him and I didn't, like that sort of thing. Yeah. And Hamler at 20 is that. Jamison Williams in 16 is that. Oh, you thought of him and I didn't. And who cares in here? It is a chessboard. It is not about whether your friends like you. And most of the mistakes I make in life are wanting people to like me. And so here was an example of that, I guess, in some small way in 20 rounds. Anyway, thanks for
I get it.
Breaking it down with me. There's still a chance. There's still a chance here. Anything can work.
Right. Anything can work. Anything can work.
How was it? Used to be known as Kentucky. It's actually Indiana.
It's actually Indiana. Caesar Southern Indiana. So I was at the KFFSC, Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship, also known as in Indiana, over the weekend, and it was awesome. I went last year, went again this year to defend. I won a couple of big paybacks, which is their highest stakes event, $1,000 entry fee. I was in 4 of them last year, 4 or 5 of them, and I won 2 of them. So I had to go collect my trophies and compete again this year in 5 of them again. And it's kind of like the FFPC main event East. Chad Schroeder's there. Hiller Death Dealers is there. You've got the Chasing the Helmet crew, Scott and Jay Reed. You've got, Farrell's there. Farrell's not competing, but you got Danny Mueller. And I'm sure I'm forgetting Stacey Perez. She's very good too. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of people, but it's just the room is tough, and it's the same 12 people that are in every big payback. Not the same 12, but it's all like the best players are in every big payback. So it's really, really tough. So, but no, it was really good. It's a start 2 running back, 3 receiver format with 1 flex. So receivers go very high. It's a 3rd round reversal, It's you use your fab budget to bid on draft positions, which I absolutely love. Like it's the coolest. It's kind of like the Kentucky Derby style, like the NFFC does the Kentucky Derby to kind of pick your draft spot. But this one, you use your bid dollars to bid before the draft even starts on your draft position. So you can, the bids generally at the top end 1, 2, and 3 go pretty high because you want the top guys, and then like 11 and 12 go pretty high because it's third round reversal. So it's interesting to see how you can do that. I picked all weekend from like the 9 and the 10 spot just because
nice, good.
I felt comfortable there. I wanted receivers galore, and from that spot in third round reversal, I was able to get 4 or 5 really, really good receivers in every single draft. So I felt really comfortable doing that. So
Diggs, Lamb, AJ Brown, Diggs, Lamb, AJ Brown, Diggs, Lamb, T Higgins, Diggs,
yes.
Tyreek. I mean,
it was honestly, it was a lot of Diggs and or Lamb and DJ Moore. I ended up with a lot of DJ Moore just because it is receiver heavy. So there was like T Higgins was going like mid second. It was hard to get that type of build, but it ended up falling a lot in DJ Moore, Mike Williams.
In round 2 or round 3?
3. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like 3, 4, 3, 5.
Yep. 3. Exactly. So Pittman. I took Pittman in one draft. I picked 6th, and I took Pittman midway through the second round because that was kind of the tier there where it broke off. And I did get one. I almost took a picture of it out. I did get one Saquon CeeDee Lamb start from the 9 or 10 spot. So I went hero RB in that one. But
well, I believe in the truck they have pulled up a screenshot of Kentucky/Indiana. We can just share that with everybody.
That's right, the truck.
There it is.
There it is. Look how shiny those trophies are.
Look how shiny they are. Are they made of wood?
They're made of rich mahogany and maybe crystal with some diamonds in there somewhere, I'm sure. I don't know.
Got to be diamonds.
They're in my son's bedroom, so I've hopefully
both.
Each of them have a trophy, of course.
Okay. Let's got about 15 minutes more. Then I got to drive and then draft. So I can't wait for that. Let's run through a few recent topics. Who do you have first?
Let's talk about Brian Robinson. So that was interesting. So speaking of Kentucky, so I did about 5 big paybacks, and I took Brian Robinson in 2 or 3 of them. I think 3 of them in like the 10th round, which I would love doing in like these hero or zero RB builds. And literally the final draft where I picked the final pick of the final draft, weekend's over, kind of let's relax and go have a drink. And as I'm finishing, my buddy walks up to me and goes, "Hey, did you hear?" Actually, Stacy sends me a message. "Oh, hey, did you hear?" Because she wanted Brian Robinson. She goes, "Hey, did you hear Brian Robinson got shot?" I'm like, "What?" I thought everyone was kidding, and it was the talk of the day. So I'm happy that he's better. I'm happy that it wasn't life threatening for him. That's awesome. That's terrifying, by the way. But I don't know what to think now of his. He was back in the building today, walking on crutches. Has there been any word about a timetable yet?
Not except that, like, he made the roster. He's on the 53, Robinson. They cut Jarrett Patterson.
Which is a good sign for Robinson, I would think.
Right. Yeah. Like, that he's on the active roster might tell you that he has a chance in their mind to play before even week 4. So,
yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right.
Apparently that can be, I don't see all the physical therapists I'm following on Twitter, so much. And I'm sorry to make light. Like, it just sort of, this is one where really maybe nobody really does know what to do, including perhaps the team. So I echo your thoughts on him. And thankfully it wasn't worse. But on Sunday night, that came up during my draft with Louie, and we were sort of targeting Gibson at that point, sort of thinking this could be something. It's just, you're playing the game, and there's all kinds of times in these drafts where you might feel bad about something that's happening in real life, but you're trying to play the game, trying to beat so many good players for a lot of money. And we ended up on Gibson at 7-10, I think, in that draft. Look, he's probably starting week 1. I don't know if he's going to return kicks also. Right. I don't think Robinson really has to move down. I think the way that the news has played out in the last few days, that he might still be on the field, and we think they thought he was their best running back a week ago. In which case, if their offense, especially if their offense is at all competent, then there could be value in Robinson. But probably how it's looking is you're going to draft him and hold him for a few weeks.
You know what I find might be interesting is, and this stuff happens, it's sports, and this stuff happens all the time, where coaches make the wrong decisions and somehow it ends up, something happens working out. Like what if Gibson comes out and is just awesome? Like we weren't going to start him. Something happens to Brian Robinson and he's awesome. And now it's like, okay, when Robinson comes back, we thought he was the best running back. Can we start him over Gibson if Gibson isn't fumbling? Like I think that for the people who are big Gibson guys and have about shares of him, like I think if he can get a start week 1 and or week 2 and have that shot to really shine, I think that could be huge for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Sure.
Does everybody in the fantasy community agree that Gibson is the better player?
I haven't heard that he isn't. I mean,
like, has anybody ever said that he's not the better player? So they played Jacksonville the first game.
Right.
Let's go. 22, 90, and 2 and 5 catches. 5 is a lot with McKissick on the team and no Robinson perhaps that first game, but 20 fantasy points, no fumbles, then we're off and running.
Yes.
What's next?
Yes. I do want to bring up something that I didn't put in the write up here.
No, that's not allowed. Sorry.
That's not allowed. Trey White for the Bills is out for the first 4 weeks. Put the bag back on. I'm going to talk about defensive backs for the Buffalo Bills. Trey White for the Bills, not playing for at least the first four weeks. Stop drafting the Bills defense in the 13th round.
Wow.
Stop taking the Bills defense as the number 1 defense in fantasy. Their schedule is really difficult. They don't have a good start to the season. Like, are you really going to start them, even with Trey White there, were you going to start them against the Rams week 1? I mean, I know for the main event stuff, you get a free look, but you're not drafting 2 defenses. Like, they don't need to be going 4 rounds ahead of all the other defenses, especially now. Like, with Trey White not playing, that's big. That's big time for them with the tough schedule. So I would just stop drafting the Bills defense so high, but be very excited that this is going to be good for the Bills offense because they're going to be more shootouts now. I mean, they drafted a corner in the first round. They have another corner that's another rookie that's done very well in camp. But just a little snippet of a little preview of early season Bills shootouts, which are always good.
How dare you? I have a few problems. You have to clear this with R&D before. There's a reason why it's not typed in. This is the deep end. Only it's like the deep end in the Truman Show where Truman goes through the wall. The reason you don't draft the Bills defense is because they go first. And even in the main event, somebody's drafting them in like round 14. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, stop it. Sure. I feel like, I'm on the radio in Buffalo every day. There's almost never been any doubt that Trey White was going to end up here. Like the so-called 9-month timetable for a ACL, he got hurt on Thanksgiving night. And we're like there plus a couple days. And he hasn't practiced yet. And I think that's sort of normal.
Sure.
There are exceptions to that. So if the Bills did not expect Trey White to end up on the PUP, they were doing it wrong. They should have thought there was at least a real possibility of that.
Yeah.
I think the Bills go first because of different, the algorithm in some way says they were the number 1 defense in the league in rankings. I talked to Aaron Schatz from Football Outsiders today for 25 minutes. He pointed out that the Bills, this was such a cool site. The Bills did not give up 1 completion last year on a fly route.
We were saying that like they never give up big plays ever. They never give up big plays deep.
Hey, free plug to Football Outsiders. A go route or a fly route, not once last year did they give up a single completion in 17 games. There was 1 defensive pass interference called for 19 yards. So good.
Listen,
so
they also
pick the Bills because of that, and Von Miller added in. But
Von Miller, yeah.
Don't pick the Bills. The same reason you don't pick Allen, because they're the first one to go.
Exactly. Completely agree. All right. Marlon Mack cut today. Louis in hiding and mourning all at the same time.
Right.
Condolences, but yeah, it's it really shouldn't change the ADP of Dameon Pierce because we were all just assuming that And the team was even acting like he was going to be the RB1 there. But what it does, it just goes to it now because coaches make mistakes all the time. And the hardest thing in fantasies is it's not what coaches should do, but what they're going to do. And there's always a chance that the coach is dumb and starts Marlon Mack or keeps him involved more than he should be. Well, now Marlon Mack's gone, so now we know, okay, well, now there's no shot of Marlon Mack hurting Dameon Pierce. Now he just has to not give up all of the passing game to Rex Burkhead. Right. But I feel like Rex Burkhead is like the Marlon Mack of receiving backs. Like Rex Burkhead.
Wow. What a statement.
Listen, if Dameon Pierce.
Rex Burkhead is the Marlon Mack of receiving backs. That is incredible.
Off the cuff. Just right off the cuff.
Yeah.
Put that in quotes. Put that in quotes.
Someone will.
That's right. But like if Pierce is a good receiving back, like there's no way that Burkhead's better. Like, I'm not saying that Pierce is going to get 100% of the touches, obviously, but there's, if he gets to that 75% mark, I don't care if the offense isn't great and the team isn't bad. You take him, as the RB 28 or whatever he's going in the 5th, 6th round, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. Now the question is,
you're not going to get him.
Well, I know, and I know you love
home leagues. Yes, in the deep end, you don't get him. We saw on the first board, like he went at 5-2.
Yes.
And that was before this.
That was before this. I know you love this game, right? Dameon Pierce or Breece Hall?
Hall.
The
third down, I think the third down question is the right question. And that's not cleared up. Teams should have a reluctance to put their best running back on the field all the time. They should. Maybe not the Texans. But like I made this argument about James Conner, which led to me not picking James Conner last night. I think if I'm running that team, he's not getting all the work. Why would you do that? Maybe you sell jerseys, maybe because you are just bereft at other positions. But I think no team should want to have their best running back on the field all the time. Take a game off. I think that's the future of the NFL. So, Pierce is a 4th round pick. Burkhead exists. So does Royce Freeman in Houston. Mack was never getting third down. He was never getting third down in any scenario. Right. I think I understand the drive home from Canton. I brought up Dameon Pierce and like, you guys, he could play. I believe in his athletic profile. I can excuse away the college production because of the team he was on. But we don't know how the team's going to use him yet. And I think that's still true.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We don't know how they're going to use him. If we knew, he could be a 3rd round pick if we knew that they were going to use him like that, on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. And Burkhead's not playing 17 games either, folks. So I'm fine with taking him in. We'll see where he's been going. I'm not taking him over Breece Hall still because I think Breece Hall is just better. But Dameon Pierce does have a better path to. Better, more touches for him. So,
okay.
All right. Dulcich to short-term IR.
Fine.
Dulcich, whatever. Albert or Wade.
I'm not sure actually which it is.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. I lean on you for that.
The deep end. He does not know.
Albert Rabadum, is he? I wasn't really.
Look at you. Look at this guy right here.
You should have heard people.
Wait, you're on this side.
You should have heard people saying the wrong name.
Oh my God!
In Kentucky, it was hard to hear. It was hard to listen to.
That's so good. Like you are now the leader in terms of pronouncing that name.
That's right.
Still a big question of what Denver thinks of him. I loved Pete Overzet's tweet today that Hackett is outside a Great Clips in Denver looking for a tight end he can start over Alberto because the preseason usage is so concerning. But this, hopefully it's good for him. I have almost as much of him as any player.
Really?
Alberto. Yeah.
Wow.
Just about. Dynasty teams where he's like the backup or he's the starter in an emergency. In the Football Diehards League with Bob Harris and Mike Dempsey, somebody's like really working me to try to get Alberto off my team, and I sort of want to do it. If only I had a better backup plan, I would totally do it. But love the physical profile, the athleticism. I feel like that should be big. One other question with Denver, which has been out there, but Hamler has impressed, and he's healthy. Judy, Sutton, Hamler. What do they do with their tight ends? I mean, after Alberto with Dulcich out, especially, it's blockers. But that doesn't mean he has to get targets. And then you have Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. That's a big tandem there. They're talking Gordon up. I don't know. This could be a team with Russell Wilson. They play Seattle the first week. What if Seattle's so bad they win the game 20-3? How many targets is anybody getting?
Right. No. Yeah, I get it. And I'm not. He just falls in that range of all the other tight ends where you can make a good case for these guys, a bad case for these guys. I mean, he could be the fourth option in the offense. I just don't think he's any higher than third, which is fine for a tight end. But I think there's a better chance he's, fourth in the receiving game, even behind the running backs, and then fifth in the offense, completely behind the running game and the running backs receiving. So, and then obviously the two big receivers. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't have a ton of him, but if you do, like you, this is not bad news for you, for sure, because Dulcich was something to consider.
I got so heavy on Alberto that lately I'm not even thinking about him. The guy I'm picking the most often in that range is Everett now, because the offense is so good. Athletically, he's good. Yes, Josh Palmer, but a little bit of a comparison between those two teams, and I've been taking a lot of Everett. One
Plus,
more.
Everett has a sweet playoff schedule too. Yes, last one.
Good.
Last one is
Is this going to come up
Ravens
tomorrow in the roundtable? Because Kenyon Drake was like one of the first guys I talked about with the Draft Sharks team. But
there you go.
I backed into something here, maybe.
Yeah, you backed into something. And I know you took Dobbins last night, but listen, I'm just it's gonna be interesting. I'm wondering if my boy. We're not gonna have time to get to it tonight. My boy Tyler Beatty was cut. Not great at all. I had high hopes for him, but I'm wondering if Drake is just because there's a bunch of injured running backs. So you got Mike Anderson, Mike Anderson. I'm thinking of Mike. What am I doing? Mike Anderson.
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. And you got all the other. Everyone's hurt. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins. Like, what are we doing? Do we just want to get another body in there? But Kenyon Drake is more than a body, right? I feel like he's probably kind of good, or better than you would want for like a handcuff, just bench stash. So we'll see. But there's, I don't know. The Raiders cut him. So how much does he actually have left? So I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, my base for drafting Drake in best ball was that I like the player and the team is an unknown. So they played 4 preseason games. He did not impress. They drafted Zamir White. New coach brought in Brandon Bolden. They also brought in Abdullah. It makes sense. It was never going to be a sure thing. And what you say when you're talking about guys in the last round is like, well, it's only the last round, so replace him. And when I see, guys who get caught, even James White is somebody in a dynasty league I looked at today. It's like, okay, it's an opportunity to easily bring in someone new off the wire. You want to have a little bit of air, I think, in that way for your team. So it kind of bodes well. Like they'll play the Jets week 1, and maybe he starts, and maybe because it's Baltimore, he carries 22 times, 22 for 90 and 2, if I use those numbers yet. Catches a few passes, a couple anyway. Of course, that's all you need. I could see that happening, but eventually they get to Dobbins. I mean, Dobbins could be ready anytime.
I mean, Dobbins says he's ready. He says he's ready to go. I don't know. I mean, start. I don't know what that does. Does Drake get the first carry? Does Mike Davis? Like, who knows there? But I think of it. We're not playing for week 1 through 6. We're playing for the end of the season. So I think Dobbins is that guy. And hey, if Kenyon Drake being added to the team helps Dobbins fall even further down the board, I would much prefer that. So
two things on Baltimore and Beatty, Adam. One is they had so many draft picks. The value to them of the late Beatty pick is different from like the Rams and Kyren Williams, where they don't have any picks, and there's a little bit more invested in that.
Yeah.
But they have shown veterans. I mean, last year they had 3 running backs out for the year in August.
I know.
So they went Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell last year. So, they are a team that wants to be about veterans. They want to win. They're expected to win. So I guess Davis makes sense, and I guess Drake makes sense. You just got to go week by week with this.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is they I don't think they care. Like it's hard. They're hard to read when it comes to running backs because like Tyson Williams last year had a great. Was it a week 1 where he was awesome or something? And,
Yeah.
and like we're like,
Raiders.
oh, this is going to be it.
Couldn't block.
And nothing couldn't block. So of course we can't hand him the ball or throw it to him.
That's right. We have Lamar Jackson to run, and we have Lamar Jackson to protect. So we're not putting the best runner on our team on the field if he can't protect Lamar Jackson. Not that Lamar Jackson couldn't, run out of this paper bag.
Right.
If the paper bag were if he was wrapped up in this, he would get out of it and score. But Baltimore, it's sort of a veterans kind of team. Like you're too young, and so am I actually. But I just know it. The old George Allen Washington teams, the over the hill gang, Baltimore in the running back room. Look at the names the last 2 years.
Yep.
Hey, would you share with me your sentiments about the Draft Sharks War Room?
Yeah, you want me to add this to the stream right here?
The main event tonight. Is it 10? Because I'm late if it's 10. 8:44.
The draft's at 10. Where do you pick?
2.
Oh, baby. I like it.
There's a pretty good chance we will go by the War Room through round 1.
Well, sure. You're going by JT, Christian McCaffrey. So you're thinking hero RB start here, hero RB build. Draft Sharks War Room saying McCaffrey and JT.
Well, that Draft Sharks, they know a little bit. So I probably will go with that, especially after last night when somebody called me out. I was like, did you not use the Draft Sharks War Room? I'm like,
listen,
I have used it many times.
Yeah, of course. The War Room is a guide. And also, like, again, if you've got the same pick a bunch of times, you're not going to take the same guys every single time because you want to diversify and all that.
That's right.
Stuff.
Right.
So, but no, the War Room's a great guide. It's a dynamic cheat sheet for you. And that's exciting to know that you're going to get maybe go RB and then you can kind of forget about it for a while and take maybe you can take Goddard at the 5-1. You know what I mean? Get your Goddard share.
I think the key up there, so tight end is big, and the key up there is at this point of the tournament and then through next week is to not be the same. So I spent some time today on the Fantasy Mojo draft, the Stacker app, because I looked up the 3 receivers that might be perfectly close to ADP after one of those running backs.
Yeah.
And there's tons of teams with that build already. So
yes,
I feel like tonight, I'll feel better tonight. I have a partner in this too, who I will, listen to, and he's not on the podcast. This has happened to me in Underdog too, where you reach early and, for the purposes of the board, you try to build it the way you want, and then you can figure out the rest. You can make up that gap because what you know. If you're researching all the time, like you and I are, you can make up that gap and then get to a point where you're not stuck. Like last night I got stuck because I didn't want to reach on Zeke. I didn't want to do something like that early, and I think I ended up paying for it. So we'll see what happens. But draftsharks.com, become a DS insider. None other than Salvatore Capaccio tonight. Ooh. He asked me, he has one draft every year outside of our best ball, like February fix. He's one draft every year. He's like, today was that day. What do you think? And do you have a cheat sheet or something you use? I said, well, you can use Draft Sharks, but
that's right.
You have to pay for it if you want free, this or that. And he texted me back half an hour later. He's like, I went up for the free trial. So he's using the War Room tonight in his league against like Bills Media. How could he lose?
Oh, wow. He's not gonna follow along with that all year because he might be a testimonial next year after he wipes the floor with them. Okay?
Bills Media, that's writers. They have magazines.
Right. That's right.
How could Sal lose in a room of magazines?
He's not gonna.
Come on. No. I was not invited in that league, and I think I know why. Okay. Any questions before we leave?
I think I'm good. Hey, good luck tonight. Don't lose confidence after last night. You're fine. The team you drafted was fine. Okay, you're good. You're good to go.
See you in the morning.
Cool. See ya.
Bye.